Right, hey guys, how are we doing? Back another video from Super Eye Patch Wolf. I think I checked out last year's and the years before's current state of Shonen Jump. So we're on the current state of Shonen Jump 2021. And I think the big hitters, One Piece is still up there. I do believe it's finishing this year though, am I right? Am I wrong? Let me know in the comments down below. Demon Slayer is going to be like up there. And then we've got Jujutsu Kaisen and Chainsaw Man creeping in. And Boruto seems to be doing quite well. I mean, I don't know, let's the point of watching this video, isn't it? Let's see what the current state of Shonen Jump is. 2021.
Last time on the current state of Shonen Jump.
My God.
Demon Slayer launched its unholy attack, pushing One Piece to the brink like no enemy ever had before.
My God.
But when the dust was settled, One Piece was still the reigning king.
It just can't be beat.
However,
it just
with
can't
several
be beat.
powerful new foes
Hey,
emerging
Jujutsu Kaisen, is that Chainsaw Man?
the return of old rival
Thank you.
and Demon Slayer.
My
back
God. Who could have predicted it?
The Shonen throne is just beginning.
Jesus.
Can Demon Slayer finally rip the crown away from One
I don't think
Piece?
so.
Or will Jujutsu Kaisen shock the world? Could newcomer Chainsaw Man do the impossible? Or can Samurai 8?
Oh, wait, what? Samurai 8's been cancelled?
Cancelled, yeah.
Oh, that is unfortunate.
That's why he's back on Boruto.
Ended this section on a different series. Not really sure how to continue. Weekly Shonen Jump,
Hey.
as many of you know, is the weekly shonen magazine aimed at young boys, but read by fucking everybody.
Yes.
Responsible for some of the biggest properties in existence. But what's become just as compelling as the battles of these stories is the meta battle that takes place every week
Ooh,
between
yeah.
jumps.
Like which one's going to get placed where in
Each
the
one
magazine?
vying to become the biggest manga in
Promised
existence.
Neverland.
While newer series desperately cling to their place within the magazine, the threat of being cut always looming. And wow, was the conclusion of that battle this year fucking insane.
Yeah?
Leaving the landscape of Jump changed forever. And the story of that is why we're here today. And to begin,
Alright.
we need to make our yearly pilgrimage to the Shonen Jump graveyard and pay our respects to the series that did not make it out of 2020. The first of which, is Masahi Kishimoto's
Samurai 8, yeah.
I feel like everyone, myself included, was hoping for bigger things from the follow-up series to Naruto, but despite the weight of its author's name, Samurai 8 sold poorly and ended after 43 chapters.
43.
Well, we saw this coming last year, and I still can't help feel bad for Kishimoto, but hey, as we said, he's a guy with nothing left to prove. Another heartbreaker.
Yeah, obviously Naruto was amazing.
Security Busters, and man, I love this series. It was weird and fun and special in all the ways you want a comedy manga to be, but it seems I was one of the few people who felt that way. Low sales leading to an ending inside its first year.
No.
One long-running series that saw its end was Yuna and the Haunted Hot Springs.
Okay.
A manga about ghost titties.
Oh.
Yes, Yuna never sold enough to become one of Jump's top
How did that ever
titles,
get
but
cancelled?
just well enough to maintain a respectable 4-year run, which is impressive,
4
especially
years, that's decent.
consider how many newcomers met a swift and brutal end in 2020. Beast Children, Zip Man, Guardian of the Witch,
What?
Bone Collection,
Jesus.
all rose to Jump's pages during 2020, only to plummet out of
Oh,
existence by
that's a lot.
Jump as ever ruthless with their cuts, but particularly with one series, Time Paradox Ghost Rider.
Oh,
This
mate.
was a strange
That
one
did
because
look
it itself
boss, so it got
was
cancelled.
about
Oh, that was on Mother's
young
Basement
authors
video, Watch
struggled
the Animated,
to
wasn't
get
it?
published in Shonen Jump,
That was a decent idea,
only
that.
to be met with years of repeated brutal rejection.
Yeah.
Till just as he's about to give up and walk away from his dreams of being a manga creator,
Lightning.
his microwave teleports him an issue of Shonen Jump
From the
15
future.
years in the future.
Oh.
Tempie, our young author, in desperation, copying 2030's most popular manga, White
But
Knight,
he
and
isn't the
submitting
author.
to Jump to massive success.
There's a girl in town that
Before
is
meeting the
a,
teenage future author of White Knight, who knows he's copied her series.
It's like,
the brutal
wow.
irony of Ghost Rider is that it was cut after just 14 chapters.
Oh, mate.
And it could have had something to do with Jump not wanting to run with the main character whose superpower is plagiarism.
Yeah, okay,
However,
there's that.
it had more to do with its titles, but regardless, this was a series that reminded you of the people who pour their lives and souls into these comics and get very little in return.
Yeah.
Which is why we remember even the most short-lived ones in these videos. These aren't the only series that ended in 2020, but the others are going to need a much bigger discussion. So for now, let's move on to the brand new titles of Shonen Jump.
Cool.
And here's where things start to get a bit strange. Jump cut 12 series last year, which is about average for them.
Oh, okay, that's normal.
Introduced 18.
Ooh.
The last time Shonen Jump introduced this many
18 new titles.
was nearly 40 years ago in 19.
They need new stuff because stuff's going. One Piece finishing. Whoa.
Well, let's keep going and see if we can find out. One of the major
Burn the
releases
Witch.
was Burn the Witch. Major because it's from Tite Kubo, focusing on rookie witches, Nini, and
The anime, those 3 episodes, I really liked them.
Dragons. I gotta say, I had a lot of fun with this one, and it feels like Kubo did as well. The illustrations are gorgeous.
The art's class, very Bleach. Oh, he looks very much out of Bleach.
Impact you'd expect from the man who wrote Bleach. And Jump themselves seem to have a lot of faith in the series. Its one shot even got a beautifully animated 3-part OVA.
It's class, so good.
But its future does seem a little uncertain. Right now, it's only been released in a limited 4-chapter run, but regardless, it's pretty cool to see Kubo back doing what he
Hell
does.
yeah, Bleach. Bleach.
Traditionally, Jump's always had 1 or 2 spots dedicated to long-running comedy series, and having in the last couple of years lost its mainstay, The Disastrous Life of Saki K, as well as Isobe, Jump is hungry for new comedy
It needs it,
titles,
doesn't it?
introducing a wealth of new gag series. Magu-chan God of Destruction is the story about a schoolgirl who becomes friends with an eldritch god, and Me and Roboco is about a schoolboy who befriends a powerful robot maid.
Oh, okay.
Love
I've
this
seen
series,
that floating
but the
around.
visual comedy of Roboco did actually get the odd laugh out of me, and admittedly, this panel of Magu-chan is
Roboco thing, I
very
seen
good.
someone
Both series
re-edit
sold around
the
9,000 volumes on their first sales, which is, it's okay for a
first
comedy
ending of
manga.
Jujutsu Kaisen
They're
having
probably
Roboco
safe for
come
now.
out.
Unlike Morky,
What the hell
tagline
is
of which
this?
reads, "The king of insects is here to sweep you off your feet. You're going to larva this manga."
Oh my god.
It's already been cancelled.
Yeah,
High
wow.
School Family Kokosei is a stupid manga with a stupid premise.
High School Family.
And I love it. 15-year-old Kataru Iatani is set to begin his new life in high school, only to find out that his father has enrolled in the same high
Oh
school
my god.
as his little sister and his
Oh
mother
my.
and their cat. This one's
What?
from the author of
What?
Isobe, which started as a one-shot gag title intended to fill in for a week when Oda was too sick to write One Piece.
Oh.
But people liked it enough that it kept it going for 4 years. And
Oh,
I
that's
feel
brilliant.
like that same magic is here. The awkward art style, the stilted dialogue, the fact that it can somehow be earnest and endearing despite both those things, and got one good hard laugh out of me at least once per chapter.
Yeah, that's good.
I really think this one has legs, so here's hoping it becomes a Jump
See how it goes.
mainstay. Gag manga are great, but the heart of Jump has always been
My
screaming
Hero
always punching each
Academia.
other, and so it's no surprise that they introduced a steady stream of new battle manga.
Oh, cool.
The first of which is Undead Unluck.
Undead
Fugo is
Unluck.
cursed with the ability of Unluck, meaning anyone who touches her suffers a horrible tragedy and dies.
Oh.
Andy is an immortal zombie who cannot die, the two together battling a shady government organization, leading to some pretty creative battle scenarios where Andy will draw out Fugo's Unluck by touching her
Cool.
and use his immortality to survive the ensuing devastation, Obliterating.
Whoa, that's sick.
And it's
That's
a little
mental.
setup, but Andy has what I can only describe as some Crash Bandicoot-ass energy to him, and that combined with some pretty bland character writing and ropey humor, mean I just didn't find a lot to like in this one.
Ah.
But my own take aside,
I like the idea,
is
though.
selling well, and its chances of
That's
becoming a
cool.
Shonen Jump mainstay are pretty high. Another series that looks like it's going to stick around is Ayakashi Triangle. It ends its fairly
Ayakashi
standard first
Triangle.
chapter by transforming its main character, a demon hunting ninja, into a schoolgirl. And I like
Oh.
gender swap stories. I think the opportunity is always there to look at gender and sexuality in some fun and interesting ways. And does Ayakashi Triangle do any of that? No.
Oh.
But it does have the feel of a creator who really knows what they're doing, and that's because it's from Kentaro Yabuki, veteran author of
Black Cat.
And
Jeez, I haven't heard of that in
the art is gorgeous, and
years.
there's a beautiful flow to the page layouts, meaning even if this one doesn't have a
God,
lot
that takes me
going on besides
back.
it's a cute ninja, it's still a fairly
Yeah, I think that's something that me and my mates found when we were at
and
uni.
23,000
Yeah.
estimated units sold. Its first volume is hitting hard, lining up Ayakashi Triangle for a good Jump, which you cannot say for our blood oath.
Our
I
blood
hate
oath.
being too dismissive of series this early in their run, but when I read the title for this in my notes, I was like, did I read this?
Yeah?
Oh, the vampire thing, yeah. This honestly feels like a manga taped together from other better manga, and with just 5,000 units sold, this one could be dead on arrival.
Oh, no.
And it's gone. It's gone.
Oh.
Literally cancelled as
Oh.
I was typing this.
Whoa.
King
Well, there
is
you
not
go.
a title
Look
whose
at Elf.
future I am
Brutal.
not sure of. It's got a great opening chapter that delivers a fantastic premise. It's set in a world where people build houses to protect them from giant monsters. And it's like, oh, cool, a non-battle battle manga about building. Let's go.
Cool.
Let's fucking
Alright.
do this. Only to reveal that the main character's bad at building and that he fights monsters instead.
Oh.
The chapters develop
What?
builds on the concepts in any kind of meaningful way, and maybe it can turn around, but with no sales data available at the time of writing,
Build
I
King.
don't have high hopes for this one. The last of our battle series is the Phantom Seer, and there's nothing that new here, but what it does really well. It's your traditional Let's Fight the Demon style story, but what elevates it is some fucking beautiful artwork
That
that
does
really
look
captures
good,
the majesty
jeez.
and horror of these creatures.
Whoa.
With some great creepy haunted house style setups combined with a fun battle system where our main character summons his own demons to fight for him.
So they have stands.
While I do think the Jump is being way too reliant on the school children fighting demon style story,
Yeah.
22,000
It's
sales
working.
is an extremely solid start, especially from two rookie creators, and with the right direction, Phantom Seer could have a big future.
Sweet, we shall see.
Lastly, I want to talk about 3 stranger titles that just feel a little out of step with the rest of Jump's catalogue.
Yeah?
2 of which I adore, and 1 of which is Hard-Boiled Cop and Dolphin. A loose cannon cop is transferred to a small seaside village where his partner is a literal walking talking dolphin whose daughter is the oracle of a secret sea cult who recently vanished, triggering the appearance of strange and dangerous half-human, half-sea creatures that are slowly taking over the village. For everything I just described, I feel like this series should be way more fun than it is, but over its first 5 chapters, the story never felt like it was building any kind of momentum.
Grim. Like, it's such a strange, bizarre, like, concept, and it seems very serious.
I appreciate its originality, but without any real direction or drive, it's a hard one to get excited about, and maybe that could change with its more recent pivot to a battle-orientated title, and hopefully save it from its low sales and potential moving cancellation.
Hard-boiled cop and dolphin.
Everything we've talked about so far, take that shit and throw it in the fucking
Gone.
trash. Here are my 2 favorite new titles.
Alright.
The first of which I can only describe as Rock Lee versus the Wizards.
What?
Ash is a child born with 0 magic ability in a
Sounds amazing.
world of wizards, but because of his dad's training, he has become impossibly strong. And after enrolling in an elite magical high school for the sake of his father, must use his raw physical strength in place of magic to do everything wizards can do. The joy of this title coming from watching Mash using his strength in creative, surprising, and hilarious ways, much to the outrage and humiliation of the wizards around him. And it could have so easily been a one-note title, but Mash is so damn likable. His straightforward deadpan demeanor complemented by some beautifully awkward artwork and dialogue.
It seems very
The
One
relationship
Punch
with his
Man.
father grounding the hilarity with a tender emotional core, making this more than just a gag manga. I genuinely think Mashal has the potential to go whatever direction it pleases, and with 30,000 sales on its first volume, this one could have a bright future in Jump, and it was nearly my favorite of the new series. Nearly. Sakamoto Days is everything you want from a new title. A really weird original premise, executed near flawlessly. Sakamoto is the world's most deadly assassin who falls in love with a convenience store clerk. A couple of years and about 20 pounds later, he's left his world of killing behind in favor of a peaceful life of retail with his wife and daughter, only to be tracked down by his former associates, desperate to drag him back into his life as an assassin. If you want to know what I like about this series, it's kind of everything. The near-mute Sakamoto is a super charming main character whose love for his family is endearing as hell.
Cool.
That love hilariously
Likeable guy.
against his instincts as a professional killer.
Whoa.
There's a running gag where Sakamoto murders someone only to reveal in the next panel that it was just his imagination. And
that's cool.
action has an incredible dynamic flow to it. Little visual touches like Sakamoto dismantling.
Whoa, he took that gun apart. That's cool.
Bullet with a piece of chewing gum, selling Sakamoto as this ultra badass who
Whoa.
is trying for the sake of his wife and daughter
That's
to
one
not
dude.
fall back into his murderous lifestyle, making for a hilarious and touching story about a person
Whoa, that's a lot of
trying
guns.
to be better than what they used to be. The only reason I can see this one maybe not sticking around is I think it's just too weird a fit for Jump's audience.
Yeah.
But I would love to be wrong about that.
We shall see.
Now it's time
The big
the
hitters.
big showdown,
Woohoo.
the clash of the titans.
My God.
The war of Jump's 10 biggest series. But first, it's time for a Hunter by Hunter watch, in which we recount all the exciting plot developments and shocking revelations from the last year in Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah. Absolutely nothing. Come on, Hunter x Hunter.
Okay, let's begin the countdown. But first, a very quick note on Shonen Jump sales data. You probably don't care about this.
Whoa, it's a lot of text.
Section, but if you do pause the video and read it here, I love you.
Right.
Clicking to its number 10 spot is
Black Clover.
which had a pretty rough year, dropping about 1 million in sales.
Whoa.
But still, there's no
That's
indication of
still
this
doing alright.
running Wizard battle manga ending soon, and considering Jump is about to be in a position where it really badly needs reliable long-running series, I think it should probably be okay.
Yeah.
At number 9, it's Act Age. And
Act
this
Age.
is a little difficult to talk about. The series ended abruptly after its writer, Tatsuya Matsuki, was convicted and confessed to the indecent assault of 2 teenage girls.
Oh.
This will be the last time I speak about him on this channel, and I hope his victims are doing okay, and that his artist, Shiro Usaki, finds a partner more worthy of her talents. At number
Oh.
8, with just under
Dr.
900,000
Stone.
sales, it's Dr. Stone.
Sick.
If you've never heard me talk about it before, it's basically a battle manga that replaces power levels with
Dr. Stone's so good. The anime's so good.
which to me
Like,
is still one of the best ideas in Jump for
It's
years,
class.
so I'm always a little bummed out not to see it in the top 5 or not even breaking 1 million. But it doesn't change the fact that it's a great series,
Still
which
up
you should
there.
really check out.
Cool.
Already. At number 7 with 2 million sales, it's my boy, it's the GOAT, it's Chainsaw Man.
Chainsaw
And we told you this
Man.
a lot
I
last year,
want.
but
Isn't there an anime adaptation of this
this
happening?
manga horrified me. This
There
manga
is an anime adaptation of this happening, isn't there?
just about every emotion in between. Denji's journey from nothing to actual person is hilarious, devastating, and shockingly
Violent.
over. Its final chapters cementing Chainsaw Man as one of my favorite
But didn't
of
a
the last decade.
sequel
And held,
get
honestly, just
announced?
ever. And I'm a little heartbroken to see it disappear from Jump's pages, but fortunately, this isn't the end of the story. Part 2 will be continuing in. You know what? We'll get there. And an anime is
Cool.
scheduled for later this year, so please, Studio Mappa, do not fuck this up.
Mappa.
Verge of something
Sweet.
Despite being pushed out of the top 5, Hero Academia
Ooh,
signed
it's
Jump in
dropped.
sales from last year, carrying it to an impressive 6 million
Jeez, that's a
sales.
lot.
And the fact that it couldn't crack the top 5 with
Whoa.
numbers like that show you what an insane year it's been for Jump. But it also looks like this could be one of the last times we talk about Hero Academia as an ongoing series.
Really?
Horikoshi dropping hints that the end could be closer than people think.
Ooh.
But he has said this kind of thing before, so I guess we'll see. At number 5, it's The
Promised Neverland.
Dropping 2 places from last year and about 1 million in sales.
Isn't it finished,
might
though?
look like The Promised Neverland has lost a lot of the momentum that took it to the number 3 spot last year, but there are 2 reasons for that. 1, Promised Neverland did not have an anime out last year, and 2, the series actually ended last June, concluding a
Right.
pretty spectacular run in Jump, especially for a series this dark and different. Massive respects to its creators, Kayushira and Masako Tamizu.
A lot of people are kicking off about the anime being so different to the manga now.
A series that is absolutely fucking
Jujutsu
exploded
Kaisen.
this year, then it's our number 4, Jujutsu Kaisen.
I'm loving the anime.
Stellar anime adaptation.
So
from
amazing.
Studio Mappa, propelling Kaisen sales by 5 million from last year.
Whoa.
Yeah, you would expect an increase following an anime, but watching it leapfrog both Hero Academia and Promised Neverland
That's
is
something.
kind of insane. As for my own opinion on Jujutsu Kaisen, I like it. I'd be lying
Oh, I
if
think it's
said I was
boss.
doing anything to really set my world on fire, but its story mechanic of the main character and villain inhabiting the same body is a fun one, but to me, its real strength is in its supporting cast, and particularly
They are.
Gojo.
Oh, yeah,
The power of
amazing.
Infinity is some real batshit stuff that let the animators really run wild.
They went
It's
crazy
a
with that.
persona underlying a murderous anti-authority personality. Unless something crazy happens, we're looking at Jujutsu Kaisen becoming a top 3 title next year.
Ooh, yeah.
And that is a good thing for Jump because its current number 3 is Haikyuu. This one's a little bittersweet, as the sun has finally set on the beautiful boys doing things.
It hasn't ended.
Title. Haikyuu's final chapter released on July 20th, 2020.
Right, yeah.
Ending a monstrous run that lasted 8 years.
Damn, that's a good run, that.
Sales rise by 3 million units to 7.2
Whoa.
million, breaking Jump's hallowed ground and entering the top 3 for one final time. And while its success is in part due to
Excuse me.
This is how you want to see the long-running series go out. Its fans rallying around it, giving it the send-off it deserves. Which brings us
to number 2.
Number 2.
Demon Slayer?
It's One Piece.
Whoa!
Shockingly, for the first time in the history of recorded manga sales, One Piece has been outsold by not one, but 2 other titles, with a decrease of 2.5 million sales from last year, bringing its total to 7.7 million units. The non-Jump title that outsold it was Yasuhisa Hara's Kingdom, a manga that's insanely popular in Japan, but not really anywhere else. But there's some caveats here. One Piece only had 3 volumes as opposed to 4 last year, and a 4th volume would have likely brought it closer to the 10 million units it sold.
Because of the sales, because of the units, right.
And even then, its volume sales still surpass Kingdom's. But still, it's hard not to look at these numbers and not to feel like One Piece's days as the untouchable god of manga might be over.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, I'm really enjoying the Wano arc, and a brief informal Twitter poll indicated that most of my followers feel the same. And the anime has never been better, with some absolutely fantastic animation.
God, that looks sick.
But despite everything, there is one series that dragged the god of manga
So Demon Slayer.
crashing down to earth, and it's our number 1, Demon Slayer.
Yeah.
You know those caveats we talked about between One Piece and Kingdom? Those completely disappear when we talk about Demon Slayer.
Damn.
To such an insane degree. If you rank the top manga volumes by sales in 2020, Demon Slayer's entire catalog occupies slots 1 to 22.
Oh my god.
One Piece only appearing at number
23.
Demon
Jesus.
Slayer to a galactic 82 million sales.
What?
And to put in context how fucking bananas that number is, you could take the best year of the combined sales of the big 3, that's Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece, and together their total sales will barely scrape half of Demon Slayer's 2020 sales.
No.
So, how did this happen? Well, it was kind of a perfect storm. Demon Slayer had a huge amount of momentum going into 2020 after
The Bullet Train movie went fucking mental as well, didn't it?
Exploding its popularity that year, those numbers compounding both by 2020 pandemic, leaving people desperate for entertainment, as well as the release of the Demon Slayer movie, which was for a time the number 1 film in the entire world. The combination of these 3 factors having an exponential effect on Demon Slayer's sales, surging them to heights that has never been seen before.
That's crazy.
In any series ever, and in doing so, crowning an undisputed new god of manga, only for it to blink out of existence. Demon Slayer released its last chapter.
Yeah, it finished then, it's mental.
2020, and after so many years of saying I could never see a series surpassing One Piece,
It did.
it is crazy to me to see it finally happen, only for that series to vanish.
Yeah, it's crazy that,
But I think it's deserved. Koyaharu Gotoge wrote a series that embodied the core strengths of shonen storytelling, but delivered it with a tenderness and emotion that made it appealing to a massive audience, and she deserves to end it on her terms. However, its conclusion does leave Jump in a very dark place.
Really?
When you look at Jump's top 10 titles, 5 of them ended last year.
Oh.
Number climbing to 6 if you count the conclusion of number 11, We Never Learned in January, and potentially 7 if Hero Academia
It's finishing.
does soon.
Jeez.
Jump with only a
One Piece, guys, and Dr. Stone and Black Clover. Ooh.
series, 2 of which failed to break 1 million in sales. And so, while Jump sold more than it ever has in 2020, 2021 marks the beginning of a much more difficult period where the magazine will need to rebuild the majority of its catalogue. And that's why we're seeing such an influx of new titles. Now more than ever, Shonen Jump desperately needs brand new breakout
Yeah, so that's
hits.
why they've got 18 new ones.
And the really already has them.
Mm-hmm.
2. Just not in the magazine itself. Remember earlier when we talked about Chainsaw Man transitioning to a new publication? Well, where it's going is Jump Plus, an online magazine / app owned by Shueisha, the same company that owns Weekly Shonen Jump, with its own range of titles that is
Spy Fellow
online. Not only does this potentially give Jump Plus a much wider reach, as there are 0 barriers to entry, but because it's not a physical magazine and is not limited by physical space, it doesn't need to be as aggressive in its cutting or scheduling.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Authors seem to have more ownership over their schedules, taking more time in between chapters, which is kind of awesome. Not only does it give authors more time to create their stories, but it also means they actually get to have a life outside of making manga, which, personally, I think, might be a good thing.
It could be a good thing. It would be a good thing. It will be a good thing.
Lad who goes into more detail than I have time to here. But what Jump Plus has resulted in is a wider, looser ecosystem that to me doesn't feel as laser focused on appealing to traditional shonen audiences.
Sweet.
And I think it's that freedom combined with the added reach of these digital series that have resulted in 2 of the biggest titles of the last 2 years. The first of which is Spy X Family.
Yeah, man. Mother's Basement talked about it.
Or Spy Cross Family. I don't fucking know. Why do people get so mad about it? Why do people get so mad about Spy Family? Began publication on
This
March
does look
1st,
cool, man.
and centers around a man known only as Twilight.
Yeah, doesn't he, like, get a kid that can read minds and, all the family have different, like, quirky things going on?
The only problem is that the mission requires Twilight to have a wife and child, which eventually leads to him adopting a surrogate daughter, Anya, who just so happens to be a telepathic girl.
Yeah, just so happens.
Yor as his wife, who, unbeknownst to him, is a deadly assassin known as the Queen of Thorns. The 3 forming a fabricated family.
So silly but brilliant.
Resulting in scenes that elevate regular family encounters, like interviewing for your daughter's preschool, to these knife-edge battles, where one false move could blow the entire mission. But slowly, with each passing day, the 3 grow closer to one another.
Of course.
That fabricated family starts to feel real. For the first time, each of the 3 start to feel like there's somewhere that they really belong, but are haunted by the knowledge that if the mission does end, so does their time as a family. Action, while really well done, is rare. This is a series that instead builds the relationships of its characters through some beautifully heartfelt moments, making it a more intimate, slow-paced story than anything you'd find in Jump regular.
Cool.
But that tenderness has proved its strength. Spy Multiplied by Family exploded.
Spy Multiplied by Family.
2 years of publication, and without an anime, achieved 4.5 million
Nice.
sales in 2020, currently sitting at the number 8 best-selling series, not just in Jump, but in the world. And if that heavily rumored anime does happen, we could be looking at the birth of a real industry monster.
Yo.
Speaking of monsters, Kaiju number 8 takes place in a world where at any moment massive swaths of civilization could be wiped out by giant monster attacks. Our only protection against them being the Defense Force, an elite military organization composed of mankind's best and strongest. And Kafka Hibino is not one of those people.
Oh, okay.
Instead, he watches from the sidelines as his childhood friend Mina Shiro leads humanity's war.
Oh, right, it's one of his mates is in the team, right.
Despite swearing as children that they would grow up to defend humanity together. But things didn't work out like that. Kafka's now 32 years old and spends his days cleaning up the carcasses of dead kaiju, and his nights getting drunk alone in his apartment, wondering how things got like this.
No.
And that is until, when saving a co-worker from a rogue kaiju, Kafka is given the power to transform into a kaiju, and decides to use that power to try and become a member of the Defense Force, and finally stand alongside Mina, fulfilling their lifelong promise. What I love about this series is while it does have a lot of the shonen tropes you'd expect,
Very Attack on Titan,
it uses them to tell a completely different kind of story. Kafka is not a protagonist that feels intended for younger shonen readers. Rather, he's the feeling of being a kid and thinking you're watching 20 years go by as you consistently break every promise you've ever made to yourself. But then, after everything, realizing your life is still yours. It's never too late, and you can still do whatever you want with it. And maybe it's because I'm old and bad, but I think that's kind of beautiful. And I don't seem to be the only one. Kaiju number 8's first chapter went viral on Twitter, collecting a record-breaking
I've not heard of it.
views. Its first 5 weeks in volume sales, selling an estimated 217,000
Whoa, go ahead.
copies, completely obliterating its weekly Shonen Jump contemporaries in a similar time period. So, what we now have are 2 digitally published Shonen Jump Plus titles, dramatically outperforming Jump's more traditional.
That's interesting. Times are changing.
The internet is changing, man.
There we go.
Both in the kinds of stories being created and how people experience them. And what this could mean is that there may come a point when we need to reevaluate what we think of as Shonen Jump. Is it a physical magazine, or is it a wider array of titles coming from more varied and flexible ecosystems? Personally, I hope it's the latter. I think Jump has more to gain by embracing this.
Definitely, considering it's losing things.
Trying to keep
Losing some big hitters.
But whether it does or not, that remains to be seen. Friends, thank you for joining me today. If you had a good time with this
Whoa,
one,
I did. That was fun. I like checking these current state of Shonen videos out.
Where for a single dollar you can help keep the electricity in my computer that I need to make these videos. I want to thank Rukia for his help in researching this video. I'm going to link the guy's manga blog below. Check it out. It's pretty cool. This video in particular, I'd like to thank Eric Aguilozo, Jake
So Spy Family's still going, obviously, because it's doing tremendously well.
Escape Jam,
Kaiju 8, something to keep an eye out on. Jujutsu Kaisen is kicking ass. And Demon Slayer's finished, but completely blew everything out of the water.
Video Game Podcast, or on Twitter at MyPatchWolf. Friends, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.
Class. It's nice to know what's going on in the Shonen Jump world, because then it gives an idea of what kind of animes could potentially be coming out later. Chainsaw Man, that's going to be good, and then Chainsaw Man continuing, so yeah, decent. Can't wait to see that adapted. And yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe if you haven't already. Leave comments down below. Let me know what you watch and discuss in future videos, and I'll see you guys. So you guys next time.